Good morning, Raptor freaks and Tempo freaks. Lexi out here, and it's a Wow Wednesday. We're kind of doing an off-season schedule right now because there's no games in the moment right now. So we're doing Wow Wednesday, and I'm wowing about the Tempo's court. They had the Before the Bounce event last night at Coca-Cola Coliseum, and it sounded like it was a fantastic event with all kinds of dignitaries and lots of enthusiasm. And it seems like Teresa Resch and Monica Wright Rogers and the crew for the Tempo did a really good job making the build up and the reveal for the court on this one. Really, really good job. I didn't totally agree with how they revealed the jerseys in the mall and kind of leaked them and then showed them. That was kind of silly. But we didn't see this court until they actually pulled the cover off of it and showed it to everybody last night. And I think it looks fantastic. It does not look like the fan art that we saw last week that was a fake court. It's totally different. And I like the look of it, how the Tempo part that's kind of with the logo with the lines kind of flows into the three free throw keys. That's like in the middle is the Tempo logo, and then the lines, the six lines that represent the six boroughs of Toronto, kind of go into the free throw line areas, which is very cool. I thought the colors pop. The blue on the court around the area in the 3-point line is really, really different. There's not, I don't think there's any courts in the NBA or the WNBA that kind of have that shade of blue involved in the color scheme. But I think it looks really fresh. It looks nice. It's a retro looking court, but I like retro. And I think that they did a good job making it something that pops, that looks fresh, but also at the same time it has kind of a old kind of feel to it that kind of harkens to stuff like the ABA, things like that. I think they did a great job. The event looked fantastic. Masai was there, Kia Nurse was there, a lot of very important fans and people that are going to be involved with the Tempo were there. Who's texting me? Nobody should be texting me right now. Like Mariah Amber was there because she was part of the dance team audition. Savannah Hamilton was there. Kayla Gray was there. We also had Lindsey Dunn at the game. My friend Nigel Downer, who's an actor director here in Toronto, who's been in a lot of TV and films. He was in attendance but before the bounce event last night. And of course, Kia Nurse representing the Toronto Tempo, they're getting a standing ovation and waving. She is real quick to get there. I mean, she didn't have to go far. She's been in Toronto anyway to come down and be there at that event. So yeah, it was just looked like a fantastic time. They had a delay to starting it apparently because the lineup took a long time to get in, partly because they were only opening one of the access points to Coca-Cola Coliseum to let people come in. And yeah, the line was epically long apparently down at Exhibition Place yesterday. But they all got in there and they kicked off the festivities just after 8 o'clock. And, really it was Teresa, Monica, and Sandy kind of speaking to the crowd about building the excitement and how excited they are about showing the court. And I think they did a good job. It seems like it was very well attended. Like the place looked like it was fully capacity. And, having Messiah in the house, well, that's always going to bring an energy and a buzz to an event. That's for sure. So yeah, it was awesome. It looked like it was a very successful launch for the court, and I love it. I love the court. I think it looks fantastic. This is my reaction. I think that it's going to look really cool to watch games played on it, and I hope that the players that are coming to Toronto to represent the Toronto Tempo really like the court themselves. I'm sure that the motif of Toronto Tempo with the color scheme and the look we're building for the culture and the look of the team, to me, is very different in some ways. Some people are cracking on it and saying dumb things like they ripped off the Pacers and stuff like that. But to me, it's so different because of the Bordeaux. The Bordeaux is just such a bold color. and to have that color be, the identity of the Toronto Tempo, I'm okay with that because I think that, first of all, I think some of the women that are going to play for the Toronto Tempo, they kind of, how would they feel about the color scheme? Well, these colors are actually pretty cool compared to, the ordinary regular colors you can have for a sports team. I think that that's true. I mean, look at this. Look at that, the way that blue pops off that Bordeaux. Seriously, this is very well thought out of. Monica Wright Rogers had a press conference released yesterday on YouTube. The post press conference for the NBA draft on Monday night, answering questions for the decisions that the Tempo front office made on the draft pick of Kiki Rice and the other women. And she had a lot to say. She was very interesting to talk about how this has very much been a difficult process, waiting for the CBA to be figured out, and then cramming everything into this 1 month right now. But as she said, they've been meticulously prepared, that they've gone and figured out all kinds of scenarios and done their research like crazy in the waiting for the season to start. So they were just chomping at the bit to get in there and do the draft pick, to get the expansion draft done, to sign free agents. That they really did put in a lot of work, her and Eli, getting prepared for when finally the green light went green, and they could it's time to go. Let's go get these players. Let's go get this court unveiled. Let's get this WNBA season started. And it's not easy. When they asked her this question, they said basically to her, is there any advantage to having everything so crammed in together like this? And a look of pain on her face is what happened there. Is like Monica's face went, no, not really. There's no advantage to doing this. I mean, I guess this is what her answer was that, because there isn't a lot of time, you don't have a lot of time to ruminate or stay on the decision, go over and back and forth. You just got to make the decision and keep moving, is basically what the Tempo front office has been kind of doing this last week or so since the CBA finished. They got it done so they could go ahead and start this WNBA season. So I'm sure it's been frustrating. I'm sure it's been frustrating waiting. But man, it's got to be so rewarding also to do this stuff all in a row really fast and feel the progress of it so instantaneously. Like having 20 plus players on your roster all of a sudden to figure out for training camp. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done still for Monica Wright Rogers. Yeah, she made it very clear in her press conference yesterday that the 2 Australian women that she selected at the draft on Monday are stashes, that they will not be coming over this year, that Saffron Shields and Kenzie Dunn are not going to be coming over here for this year, and that they're for future prospects for down the road. Then we just want the rights to them to come to Tempo to play for Coach Brondello. So yeah, that was very clear by Monica Wright Rogers yesterday. But yeah, they're going to have some tough decisions during training camp, because they have to cut down the roster to about 12 that are active to play, with a couple of development spots. So it's really like 14 or 15 of the women that are invited to come to training camp are going to make the team, and there's going to be about 5, 6, 7 of them that will be dismissed and will be cut and will not make the team. So that whole process, we'll be covering it here on this channel, of course, trying to see what the intel from training camp is and the decisions that seem likely. Of course, players like Marina Mabry, Isabel Harrison, and Brittany Sykes will definitely be on the Toronto Tempo this year as players that are salaried and guaranteed. Kiki Rice is also going to be on the team for sure, but there are really no guarantees for a lot of the rest of them that are coming to Toronto for training camp, and we'll see who makes it. It's making me think that some of the expansion draft picks, like Nina Milic and Maria Conde, are kind of like the Australian girls that we picked in the draft late, and their stashes and just having rights to great players from overseas. Now, is Milic going to come back and play this year? I don't know. Her Instagram has kind of changed a little bit. She recognized the Toronto Tempo wishing her happy birthday and also the drafting. But I don't know if she seems like she's in a hurry to leave Europe and come across for training camp right now and try and make this team. It could very well be that Wright Rogers is getting the rights to these great European players like Milic and Conde, but not necessarily expecting them to show up this year either, because they have been kind of skipping the WNBA the last few years and just playing overseas and not doing WNBA. So we'll see. Some of that was to get rights for talent, just in case they do decide to come over here. We'll have to see. The other one I'm wondering about right now is Maria Klendikova. She's not really showing outward signs of coming to play for us for some reason. Yeah, because there's a thing on Reddit I want to talk about real quick. It says WNBA players who might be late for camp this season due to overseas playoffs, and this is the list. And well, a few of our tempo. Jeez. A few of our tempo players are on this list, including Julie Alamon and Nina Milic for Fenerbahce. But I thought they finished, but maybe they only won the Turkey part, and they have to play in the EuroLeague Champions part still. So they may not be done until April 19th, which is in 4 more days. So they may be a very late coming over. I mean, I feel like Alamon is going to be on the team for sure, but I cannot say for sure with Milic. There's also Kitty Laxa, who's playing in Italy right now, and she may not be done until April 26th. And that could really kind of hurt her chances for making the team, because she's not going to be involved in training camp in the lead up to get in on the team. And this may be a factor in who actually makes the team. And we'll keep the rights to these European players. And who knows, maybe Kitty will be on the team next year. Who knows? I don't know. If they're not going to show up till later, it's tough to get on the team, because there's, they got to get some bonding. Lexi Held's another one. Lexi is in Hungary playing for Apex, and she may not be done until late April, early May. So she may having a hard time getting in there. And also Masha is playing in Russia, and she won't be done until May the 1st at least. This is not ideal, considering training camp and everything is going to be over pretty shortly after that. So yeah, a few of the European players are overseas, and they may be too busy with Eurobasket to actually do training camp. We'll just have to see how that works out with timing. We'll just have to see. Yeah, we found out yesterday that the Toronto Tempo has signed, since they lost out on Shakira Austin of the Washington Mystics, the matching offer from the Mystics to retain their center. The Tempo pivoted and made a choice to offer $1 million contract for 1 year to Temi Fagbenle. And that is a center that's been on the Valkyries and the Fever in the last few years. I've had Temi on my fantasy team, and so I'm familiar with Fagbenle. And yeah, this is a great acquisition. I love this player. If you guys don't know who Temi is a British Nigerian American who's similar to OG in that way, same kind of roots. She played for OG's team, the London Lions, at some point in the British basketball league, but she represents Great Britain in international play at the Olympics. But yeah, Temi's a veteran, been around for the league on and off for like 6 years, 33 years old, born in Baltimore, Maryland, but is a British and a Nigerian citizen. And yeah, she represents over there. But yeah, she was on Golden State last year, but we have signed her away, and she is officially a Tempo. In fact, Lex edited her Wikipedia to say that she's on Tempo. I'm proud of that. I like getting in there first and making the Wikipedia edit and said, yeah, Golden State Valkyries? Nah, Toronto Tempo, Temi Fagbenle. Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, she's very much from a very accomplished family, very much like the Ananobis. OG has a brother who's in NFL, and he has sisters that are heart surgeons. And, OG's got an amazing group of siblings. Well, so does Temi. Temi's got a brother who's an actor and he actually has performed in as Barack Obama in a movie. He's played Barack, so it's a very interesting family, and her list of accomplishments is amazing. She has won everywhere she goes. She is a WNBA champion, as in 2017, she won it with the Lynx way back then. So we've got a few WNBA champions on our team. Monica Wright Rogers talked about this in her press conference yesterday, saying, yes, we are wanting winners. We want people that have done good things in other places like EuroLeague and leagues around the world, along with the WNBA. And, collecting proven winners is smart because these are women that know what it takes to win at the highest level. And that this has been a very concerted effort by Wright Rogers and Horowitz in their moves as the front office of the Tempo to acquire players that have winning experience that they can add to knowing this is what it takes. And I like that. Temi is one of those, as one of the three WNBA champions that are on our roster already as players. Her, Sabali, and Nye from last year. Yeah. So welcome to Temi. Very, very excited about this signing. And she has 11 siblings. So it'd be very, very awesome to see her in the Tempo uniform. Temi in the Tempo. And some people said it just fits, right? It just fits. All right, let me check in with you guys in the chat this morning. We'll be talking about NBA playoffs, talk about WNBA unveiling of the court, and just the more stuff about the Raptors and the Tempo just in general. I mean, we got to do some Tempo stuff right now. This is big time Tempo time right now. I did make an adjustment to our fantasy league once again because they've come out with the schedule for the Raptors in the playoffs. So we know when we're playing now at this point. Yeah, so we have our first game on Saturday at 1 p.m. in Cleveland for game 1 of the playoffs. And then on Monday, they'll play on 4/20 at 7 p.m. in Cleveland for game 2 next Monday. And then Thursday, the first game in Toronto, it'll be 8 p.m. and it'll be on the Thursday, the 23rd. That will be the first playoff game in Toronto since Scotty's rookie year. So this will be a fun environment. And then the next game will be on game 4 on Sunday, the 26th at 1 p.m. Jurassic Park Day, Jurassic Park. And because that's a game day, all of a sudden I've switched our fantasy draft from that day to the day before. So we're going to actually do the WNBA fantasy draft on the 25th, which is a Saturday, on Saturday morning. That is when we'll do the draft because I want to do a preview for the 4th Raptors playoff game. Now, if necessary, the games will be Wednesday the 29th for the 5th game. Friday, May the 1st will be the 6th game. And then the Sunday the 3rd will be game 7 if necessary. So, that's the Raptors playoff schedule. We're playing Saturday at 1 p.m., game 1. Monday, 4/20 is game 2. And Thursday, April 23rd is game 3. And Sunday, April 26th is game 4. So we'll get those 4 games at least. Hopefully, we'll get more and we'll beat the Cavs. That's what we want. That's right. That's the playoff schedule. And a little bit of scheduling note for our fantasy WNBA and when we're actually going to draft. It'll be the 25th. So, All right, let's see. Let's see what y'all are saying in the chat. So happy to see Raptor Freaks in the chat talking with me this morning. Trevor J's words of wisdom: all roads lead you back to yourself, to the standard you ignored, the boundaries you softened, the intention you doubted. Life keeps repeating lessons until you finally listen. All right. Yeah, I guess there's truth to that. I mean, you could get so busy and so doing other things and out of your head that you lose yourself, that you don't keep up with your health. You don't keep up with being able to just kind of decompress and relax, and you get all worked up. So it's important to take a break. It's important to have me time. It's important to recalibrate and be able to reflect. The thing is, like, too many people in the world today are in the rat race where they have to go, and they don't have any time to really think. And there's, you'll hear people say this sometimes. I just don't have any time to think. I just have to keep going. This is not good. In some ways, you don't fully learn or get the experience if you don't have time to reflect and kind of think about things that happen, and then maybe like make adjustments if you have to. This is a bad thing. People shouldn't be going so fast and so crazy in their life that they just don't have a time to just take a second and recalibrate and kind of think things over. Blessings to the Jones family, all the Raptor Freak families. That's right. Okay, so play in action last night was fantastic, but Amazon screwed up. They screwed up. The Amazon Prime is showing the 6 play-in games. They have the contract to do it. And we had a barn burner last night with the Heat and the Hornets really going back and forth and going into overtime. Well, they didn't account for extra time. They didn't account for the possibility that there may be extra time. And Amazon cut off the feed for the game to almost everybody, including LeBron James, complaining about it, that they didn't see the overtime because Amazon dropped the ball. What a big, huge failure. In fact, they need to give a bunch of people money back for this one. What a big, huge failure. This is always a problem sometimes with programmers. They first start doing basketball. You don't get ready for a double overtime or a triple overtime or a regular overtime, just one. You got to understand that your time slot may need to be extended. And if you just have a hard cutoff, well, that's it, cut the power. Well, you're going to make a lot of people angry. And this was a huge, huge mess up by the NBA, by Amazon specifically, majorly Amazon. And it's just really dumb thing. Really, really a dumb thing that this happened this way. So, yeah, I hope you learned something from this. This was one of the most exciting games in the play-in ever, and y'all messed it up. You messed it up. A great billion-dollar company like the NBA screwed up presenting one of their best games in the play-in ever last night. Well, good job, Adam Silver, and good job, Jeff Bezos, you idiot, you dumbass. Yeah, you screwed it up. Unfortunately, the Hornets won. I was kind of really rooting for Davion and those guys, and I don't like LaMelo Ball winning. I don't. So, in some ways, I knew that the Hornets would win, and I had predicted that they would. But in seeing how it all went down, I wish the Heat had won. I wish they had, but I knew that the Hornets would probably win. So, yeah, the Heat are out of the playoffs now, and that's probably good because they need some time for themselves. But, yeah, the Hornets will move on, and they will face the loser of the other matchup between Philly and Orlando tonight. Now, this is the weird thing. I don't understand why they did the brackets opposite. They really should have done the Hornets Heat game tonight, and they should have done the Philly Magic game yesterday, because it would have lined up more correct with the seedings, because they flip-flopped it. They had the 9 and the 10 for the East, and they had the 7 and the 8 for the West in the games last night. To me, that just didn't make any sense. I'm going to guess that part of the reason why they did it this way is because of scheduling conflicts with the arenas and stuff that's already going on, maybe with hockey playoffs or hockey or whatever. I don't know what hockey's doing right now, or concerts and stuff like that. And they couldn't have the arena ready for the Philly Orlando game to be last night. They had to do it tonight. I don't know. Either way, it didn't make no sense how they scheduled these play-ins, to me at least. So, yeah, we're just going to have to see. Hey, there's a Blue Jay. Hey, Blue Jay, how's your baseball season going? Are you healthy? Are you doing all right? I just don't want you to be injured. How about that? That's what I'll say to that. Miami and Phoenix got beat last night. Yeah, I hate that Phoenix lost too. I don't like Portland, man. I don't like Portland. And I was hoping Dillon and the Phoenix Suns would win that game. It was close too. And there were opportunities for the Suns to close it out. But they're not done. They're not out. They get to play the other side, the loser of the game that they're about to play. They'll get to play them to try and get the chance to play Oklahoma City in the first round. Of course, the Portland Trailblazers will be playing the Spurs in the first round as of last night. Yeah, that'll be a fun matchup. I hope the Spurs kick their ass and put them out. Yeah, Trevor's saying that the Tempo court is fire. Yeah, it's. I think it's fantastic. I got a picture of it here, and I just love it. It's simple. I love the big Coca-Cola Coliseum logos in the middle, the CIBC at the end. Yeah, the logos even look fresh. And I usually hate corporate logos, and they don't look bad. The WNBA and the free throw circle, the WNBA logo. And I just love the lines kind of running through the whole court, right down the middle, in the middle. It's a cool court. And I think it's very classy. I think that the comments from people around the WNBA are mostly pretty good, that they like the court, that they think it looks retro, and that they think that the color scheme is very original and popping. So yeah, the first reviews from general WNBA fan seem to be that the Tempos court is cool, and the tempo stuff that's going on is very awesome. And there's fans from other nations, because it seems like WNBA fans like to have multiple teams. Like there's some fans from other cities that are saying, "Can I be a Tempo fan too? I'm here and I'm a Fever fan first, but I want to be a Tempo fan too." So there's a lot of that going on, and some of it has to do with the players being loved by other team nations and them coming to here, and they want to come with them. So we have to see how this Tempo fan nation works out, because it seems like we're pretty cool, and people are attracted to rooting for us. So we're going to have to see. The Tempo may have a following like the Raptors that follows them on the road, because people in the other WNBA cities may be like, "Yeah, I like y'all. I like your colors. I like your team that you built, and Coca-Cola Coliseum. It's cool." Yeah, I think this is happening. The Tempo fan nation is going to be very strong, not just in Canada, but it seems like general WNBA fans are respecting our franchise already, and they want to jump on board. That's interesting to me. Trevor's saying this. What do you think about that video we saw with Scotty? I didn't like that some guy got on Scotty in public parking lot. Yeah. There's a weird video that popped up on Reddit or online yesterday of Scotty in a parking lot with his Cybertruck. Blah, blah, and a guy yelling at him from the car window. And I'm like, bro, who the fuck are you, man? Saying really out of pocket shit. I mean, I know this kind of person. I've been around Toronto long enough. There's certain people in Toronto that think they're all that in a bag of chips, and they like clout chase, and they're all about like, maybe talking people down or just being sassy. Some of it's cultural. In other cultures, some people can have a quick tongue and just like to put people down really fast and just kind of like, this is me verbally jousting you. And I think that's a little bit of what this was, that there was a little bit of a cultural joust. It was totally uncalled for. I don't even think Scotty understood what that guy did to him, to be honest. I don't know if he did. He's probably seen the video later and he's like, what the fuck? I mean, this is a Toronto guy. Yeah. But, and it's also convenient that this comes out a week before the playoffs. I don't think we should worry about this, Trevor. We need to understand that the players understand that there's fans and then there's assholes. And fans are like us. If I saw Scotty out in public, I'd be respectful. I'd maybe wave to him or say, "Hey, Scott," and that's it. I wouldn't be asking him to stop. I wouldn't be asking him to take a picture. I wouldn't be asking him to do nothing, because I respect they're busy guys, and they're not just open to the public just because we see them on NBA every day and stuff like that. No, these guys want to have private lives. And if you're going to approach a Raptor in the wild, very much suss it out with energy whether this is welcome or not. Don't just expect, because you see them on TV and they make millions of dollars, that they're just that accessible to you. That's the biggest, most egotistical folly of NBA fans, and is that they think that just because you see them on TV and you know who they are, you should just get access to them publicly. No, that should never be the case. They're private citizens in society just like us. And in some ways, just like the lady who interjects into my business on an elevator going to Raptors game, it's rude to come into somebody else's conversation or butt in or be involved in somebody's life when they did not ask you to do that, just because you see them in public. So we know Scotty has been very generous with his time with fans out in public. Our great Raptor freak Edmund, Race Mode Daily, ran into Scotty one morning while walking his dog, and he was with his kids. He has two little boys, and Scotty was very happy to stop walking the dog and walk over to Edmund and his kids and take a picture with them. And so we know he's willing to do this kind of stuff. This guy in the car, he may have approached him completely wrong. Who knows? He may have even said something quietly and Scotty didn't even hear him. There could be all kinds of reasons why this happened this way. I'll tell you this, buddy in the car who's so hot shit that you think that Scotty owes you something. This is all your ego, and you're an idiot. You think you're the most important person in the world, that Scotty Barnes needs to drop everything in his life just to come over and take a picture with you? If you weren't with your children, he's not going to do it. He's told us this on Twitch, that he's not interested in taking pictures in public with adults. He'll take pictures with kids and the kid fans because he'll take his time and do that for kids. But he's not going to do that for, like, if I was out by myself, Scotty doesn't want a picture with me. Because look, he made this very clear on Twitch to us when we were there watching him, is that he wants to give back and give to the kids, but he doesn't owe anything to the adult fans. So if you're an adult fan and you see Scotty in public, do not try to go talk to him and take a picture with him. He's going to reject you. He's going to be like, nah, it's all right, man. I don't want to do this. He maybe will exchange words with you a little bit and talk to you maybe in a little bit of a conversation, but don't try and take pictures with him. Don't try and stop him if he's in the middle of riding a scooter or on rollerblades or walking his dogs. Just let the man live his life. He gives so much to us to train and play and dedicate his life to basketball to entertain us and help the Raptors win, that you guys, he doesn't owe you jack shit if you see him in the wild in the public. Just remember this. Seriously. And that guy makes Toronto look bad, that guy yelling from the car. But I know his type. I've ran into idiots like him all over the city at different times. You know, people that go down the entertainment district and just get loud, drunk, and belligerent and have no conscious look at themselves and understand just how much of a jackass or an asshole or an egotist they are. Because what that dude said to Scotty smacked of, I'm the most important person in the world, bow to me, everybody else. And I don't care if you're in the NBA. I'm trying to clout chase and make myself look good against you by yelling nonsense out a window of a car in a parking lot. That's what it looked like to me, Trevor. That's it in a nutshell. That man's an idiot. And if he identifies himself as the guy in that video, I hope all of his friends chastise him, make him feel like an idiot, tell him all those things like, you're a dumbass. Why did you talk to Scotty like that? Bro, I don't know if we can be cool anymore. You're an idiot. Why did you approach Scotty Barnes like that? Seriously, I hope his friends, his inner circle, if he's bragging about this, if he's putting his little clip up of chastising Scotty from the car in that video, people need to be coming at him. Yo, you're an idiot, man. Shut up, man. You're a jerk. I hope he gets a backlash and enough people come at him that maybe he gets a humbling lesson and his ego takes a blow and he finally figures out, oh shit, maybe I am the asshole. Maybe I am the asshole. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, you really? Oh, it's like that. Yeah, you're a dumbass, man. I'm ashamed that you're my friend, is what I'm telling you today. I hope his friends are like that. Seriously, especially if he's coming in bragging about it. Oh, I shamed Scotty Barnes. Oh, I told Scotty Barnes off. It was so great. I'm so crazy and important and amazing. No, fuck you. You're an idiot. And leave Scotty alone if you see him in public, even though he drives a Cybertruck. I hate that Cybertruck. I hate it. I wish he'd sell it and get a better car. Seriously, get a better car, Scott. Trevor's saying this. People are just haters on Fagbenle, saying Tempo don't know what they're doing, giving her $1 million. Yeah, there's a lot of noise. What we're finding out coming into the WNBA world with the Tempo is the stuff that pertains to the NBA pertains to the WNBA. And this is all the out-of-pocket fan exchanges and shaming and slighting. We haven't even played a game yet. And people are already wanting to shade us. And they're shading us on the dumbest stuff. Like, once again, the landscape financially of the WNBA is very new territory, a new frontier, and it's not totally laid out. Anybody who's making decisions on whether people are overpaid or this or that, this is a whole new game as far as the payment levels have jumped. And how do you gauge who's overpaid, who isn't? Because the market has to set itself. And from what we're seeing in WNBA free agencies in this last week or so, is that there's a premium paid for height, for centers. And this is something that makes sense because that's one of the hardest positions to fill. That's to get skill in that position, you may have to pay a premium. So if you're looking at the different big women that have been signed as free agents in the last week, they're all getting like 900,000, 800,000, 700,000, $1 million, just over $1 million. And Temi, they say this because they think she's just a bench player. and they think that she's not good enough to be $1 million player. Now, the thing is, she's been a bench player, yeah, on a good team, on a expansion Valkyries team last year. She had a more feature role, but maybe on the Fever, she wasn't as featured. And that may be where she was more of a bench. They were saying that Temi is a top 5 center in the WNBA. We just paid $1 million for her for this year. Is that a big overpay? I don't think so. They're saying she's a top 5 center in the WNBA. How the hell is $1 million towards her an overpay? I think that this is just people talking out of their ass. I think that this is also, the phenomena I'm learning about the landscape about the WNBA in the last couple of weeks is the Fever fan nation's a little out of control. They're a little bit extra. Let's just put it that way. Fever fans are super competitive, and because they have Caitlyn and because of the way they are, some of it's a little bit with the white supremacy. Some of it's also very protective and very aggressive. Some of it's a little insecure also is the energy I get from Fever fans. So they have to lash out. And in some ways, they're kind of like Knicks fans in the NBA, where they're going to come out of their way to shade and kind of belittle because it comes from a place of insecurity, honestly. And in some ways, they could see somebody like Fagbenle, who played for their team 2 years ago, and they assess where she was 2 years ago, and they just think that's who she is. And then they say, oh, this is why she's overpaid. Because on our team, this is what her contribution was at this point. But they never think about, well, they developed into a further expanded role in the time while they were on the Valkyries. Are they projected to possibly in an expansion role on a brand new team like the Tempo this year to continue that trend of being a starter level center? Because that's what we'll probably play her at. They don't take any of this account. So it's just everyday normal NBA/WNBA, other teams shading another team kind of propaganda work. That's all this is. And I think it's hilarious because if you haven't even started your team, you haven't even started beating other teams, and they're already threatened by you enough that they're going to go ahead and shade your team. Like Portland fans are making fun of our logo, saying that we have like a rip off of the Pacers and it looks stupid and it generic and like cheap, the Tempo stuff. That sounds like insecurity, Portland Fire. That sounds like insecurity, y'all coming in the same time as us. This is what I'm saying. Let's just be better than all of it. In some ways, I don't want Tempo Nation to go do this kind of behavior the other ways. Let's just do our work, play our games, kick their asses, and let them hate us. That's the way I look at it. Because look, we haven't even played a game yet. And we've got other fan nations so intimidated by the Toronto Tempo that they feel like they need to come in social media spaces and talk shit already. Hey, we got it like that. And we haven't even played yet. That's why it's so fun to start at baseline zero with nothing done with this franchise, because I can really assess this. I'm like, okay, this is how it's going to be already. And we haven't even played a game yet. All right. I understand this. Starting to learn the WNBA environment. And well, Fever Nation's out of pocket. Let's just put it that way. They're out of pocket and they think that their shit don't stink just because they have Caitlyn. And once again, I'll say there's a lot of weird energy about race behind the Fever fan nation. Let's just put it that way. Some of the interesting things about the WNBA to me are going to be that, this is the 30th year of the league. They're in a different age than the NBA. And in some ways I could correlate and compare the NBA's maturity growth over the decades to become the league that it has and kind of look at what's happening with the WNBA. And there's some stuff that hasn't totally been reconciled in WNBA circles that has been in NBA circles, because there are things that have happened and the NBA had to work through them and figure out solutions. There's some things with the WNBA that still need to be figured out. Last year they had people throwing dildos on the court. There's going to be weird things in the time that goes on with the WNBA as far as, is this situation that happened in the NBA like 20, 30 years ago going to happen in the WNBA now? Who knows? There's a lot of stuff that needs to be sussed out. And there's some weird stuff on the underlying things with the WNBA that aren't exactly right. I can tell. And some of it has to do with the president, Kathy Engelbert. I'll just say that. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. G's here. Good morning to G. Temi signed with the Tempo. This is huge. Trevor, those people are just dumb. Bigs are in demand, so you need to pay to play. Yeah, and the other thing is these are flexible contracts. These are only for a year. And if it doesn't work out, well, she can move to the next place. But Temi, very interesting what she said about coming to Toronto. She said that Toronto exemplifies her, that it's a very diverse city that's very global, very diverse, and that feels like her habitat. In fact, she was very clear in her statement about signing with the Tempo that one of the biggest draws and biggest pluses is the city of Toronto, that she is really all about coming and being a part of the very diverse international, the most diverse city in the entire world right now, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So Temi says that Toronto is her and she's about it. I wonder if she's friends with OG. She probably is. They have a lot in common. They probably are they are probably in touch. I would think so. I would think so. And who knows? Maybe she had ringing endorsements from Anunoby about Canada and Toronto. Who wouldn't want to be a part of this history? It's all set up so well. I mean, that's what they're saying. Some of the new players coming to Toronto, I want to be around the greatness. And they're talking about Sandy Brondello, Masai Ujiri, Monica Wright-Rogers, Teresa Resch. They want to be around the greatness. And they want to be a part of something new, groundbreaking, and to be part of the first. Because like I said, they can see in hindsight what the Raptors are at this point. The inaugural Raptors weren't like this. There wasn't any prestige to come into play for the Toronto Raptors. There wasn't any. It was kind of like, oh, you're getting banished to Siberia kind of shit is the energy that happened with expansion Raptors. Expansion Tempo is totally different. In some ways, it's like you're joining a very elite club of winners because of our front office. And then you're getting to be in the ground floor of something we know is going to be prestigious, and people in the years to come will look back and say, yeah, your original Tempo. So in some ways, they're ahead of the game, and they understand just the gravity of what all this was over the Raptors at this time. Because the Raptors, we didn't know. It was an experiment that could have failed, and there was a lot of shakiness, and it wasn't established at all. The Raptors have really established themselves in their 31 years, and because of that, the Tempo in the template of the Raptors can be like, wow, this is what to expect. So of course players are going to be more attracted to come to Toronto Tempo with the idea that, yeah, you're going to get in the history books, you're going to be this, and you're going to have fun, and look at the track record of this, and look at who's involved. Serena Williams. Come on now. That by itself, in some ways, I'll bet is it really impressed some of the women that are coming to Toronto, is that Serena Williams is part of the ownership group, and they may be rubbing elbows with her soon to an extent. You know what I'm saying? It's really good stuff. Shaq Lindsay's here. Good morning, Shaq Lindsay. Surprised that Phoenix lost to Portland. Is Danny that good? He didn't look so good when we played him. Looks like Booker needed KD. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened in the game. I didn't watch it. I did kind of watch the score late just to see that it was close in the last few minutes, but Portland pulled the game out. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I don't like the Trailblazers. I've decided this. I don't like the Trailblazers at this point. I don't like their team. I want them to fail. And I'm more happy with Phoenix. I'm actually more on a Phoenix kind of thing at this point. It's Dylan, man. I love Dylan Brooks. And I'll root for him. And I hope that he can come to Toronto at some point and play for the Raptors. But yeah, I don't know. Dylan's also, we got to figure out, Dylan has just come back from that hand injury. And he may be a little rusty and not totally in his rhythm yet, because he hasn't had a whole lot of games back since he came back from his surgery. So, there's a lot of different factors. I think the Suns' biggest Achilles heel is that they rely on Booker and Green too much, that they don't have enough guys fleshed out, giving solid contributions on a regular basis, and that, they really become a two-man show, and then it screws them over because that's not enough to add up in the water barrel to get it up to the high level over the other team. The Trailblazers have more guys giving more contributions throughout their lineup, and the Suns just have 1 and 2. And if Dylan wakes up and he has his rhythm, he could be 3. But really, who's scoring for the Suns after Jalen Green and Devin Booker? That's Achilles heel. That's not good enough. They need to diversify their output, and they can't just be a two-headed monster. That's the way I look at it. G saying LaMelo grabbing Bam's foot, making him fall back was not cool at all. That's what I heard. Lindsey Dunn was pissed about this. She posted it on her Instagram stories that Bam should have smacked the shit out of LaMelo for his dirty play. Yeah, that's what she said. I didn't see the play,
but that doesn't surprise me. LaMelo Ball's a cheesy clown who's not obeying traffic rules. And in some ways, I want him to fail. That's why, in some ways, I don't really root for the Hornets. In some ways, there's a couple Hornets that I respect and I like, but there's also LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges, who I do not respect or like. But I like Brandon Miller and Con Knipple. I think that those guys are solid basketball players. Interesting that the Rookie of the Year candidate was not good in this game. Did you guys notice that? That he was like 2 for 12, and he really did not play well in his first postseason game in the NBA. So yeah, that was interesting to me. That Knipple was not at his best. Well, they've got to win the next game against the loser of the Magic and the Sixers to get the opportunity to play the Pistons. And we'll just have to see how that all shakes out tonight in the NBA. That's right. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying, I'm happy for Portland. Is it just me? Who thinks they play a lot better and more organized since Chauncey's departure? Do you think Billups was throwing games? Nah, maybe. Nah, laugh out loud. I don't know. I will say that Tiago Splitter has done a good job coaching that team this year. And considering he had to be thrown into the spot on the first day of the year without really any preparation or knowing that he was going to be the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers until the opening day of the season. Considering all that he had to jump in that spot, they've done fairly well. They could have easily been a non-playoff team. But still, they're a play-in team. Let's not give them too much credit. And honestly, when we played them, I haven't been that impressed with them. I think that in some ways you could say what you're saying is true. But I don't know about I think that team's not that much better than they were under Chauncey. I think they're about the same. And who's to say that their progress this year would have been the same with Chauncey Billups in charge or not? I don't think he had anything to do with throwing games either. His problems with gambling were about poker and didn't have anything to do with gambling on basketball. It had more to do with poker and illegal games where they were racketeering people coming in person and cheating them in poker games with celebrities enticing the people to come in. That's what Chauncey's in trouble for. He's not in trouble for betting like Jonte or anything like that. He's in trouble for illegal poker games, which they scam people in. That's what he's in trouble for with the FBI. Yeah. Jimmy's saying this, LaMelo should be suspended. They should maybe go back and look at that again, especially because that's the man who got the second most points in NBA history ever. And, what are you trying to do to him right there? That's right. And he tried to trip Bam earlier in the year, too, by grabbing his ankle. The league must be strict on this guy. No place for that in this league. Yeah, I don't know. I don't care. This guy tattooed his toe like a Cheeto, and he runs red lights like crazy and endangers the citizens of Charlotte on a daily basis. Man, I ain't got no respect for this guy. He's a wild kid who looks like a llama. And in some ways, he's an idiot. Honestly, he's low IQ. He's immature. And he's an idiot. I just don't have any respect for LaMelo. I don't respect his game, and I don't respect him as a person. I really don't. I really don't. Jimmy's saying, Tempo Court looking good. Bless you, Lex. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I had a little sneezing fit there. I don't know what it was. Yeah, I think it looks really good, too. You guys like my sweatshirt? Isn't that kind of fresh, man? The Tempo logo, Tempo colors. It's a gray sweatshirt, but on the gray, you can see how the blue pops. Yeah, you dig my sweatshirt? That's right. I got to be repping. That's right. I'm ready. Let's go. It's unfortunate that the Raptors playoff game is going to be scheduled the same time as the preseason game for the Tempo later this month. Yeah, that Connecticut Sun preseason game is on the same night as the Raptors game 4. And they'll be going on at the same time in the same city. So it means that Tempo game, it's going to be well attended. I'm sure it's hard to get a ticket still, even though Jurassic Park and the Raptors are going to have a playoff game, across town at Scotiabank Arena. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Shaq Lindsay saying this, Charlotte is the number 1 team in the regular season and 3-pointers per game. Yesterday, they were shooting like us. If the Cavs think they're going to shoot their way to beat us, they better think twice. Playoff basketball isn't regular season. Defense wins championship. Yeah. There's the ESPN predictions came out, and every single one of their experts predicted the Cavs would beat us. Every single one. There's a whole list of them. All these different ESPN insiders have said Cavs in 5, Cavs in 6, Cavs in 7, Cavs in 4. They're all 12 experts from ESPN have listed the Cavs are going to beat us in the first round. Somebody needs to print that shit up and put it in the locker room of the Raptors. Somebody needs to put that shit up right away and show them just exactly how nobody believes in them and how they need to go and show them something. That's right. Scotty Barnes, you tweeted last summer, y'all don't know basketball. We're going to make the playoffs this year. Well, show these experts they don't know what's going to happen in this one either. There's so many different ways we could mess up the Cavs, and people are not respecting that we swept them in the regular season, and that's fine. You don't have to. You go ahead and do this. We've always operated with disrespect. We've always operated as a submarine underneath the water that y'all aren't really monitoring right, and then we pop up when it's too late for you. So, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do this again. And, getting the matchup for the Cavs instead of the Knicks is a sign that the Raptors are destined to find some playoff success this year still. Yeah, I'm going to be here for it. I will, and we will talk about it on this channel at 9:30. That's right. I'm going to be here for it. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying, no hold back, Darko. Let the dogs out. Colin, Brandon, Jacoby, Scotty, and Shed. Yeah, who let the dogs out? Royakovich. That's right. Yeah, listen, we got good defensive players. We've got very, very skilled offensive players too. We just got to play the right notes in the piano, and we can make good things happen. If we know what their strengths are and their weaknesses are, we know what our weaknesses are and our strengths are. We got to play up to our strengths and play against their weaknesses. And we can do this. I trust Darko. I really do believe that this week and what they're doing right now is Darko's obsessed. Darko is overthinking. Darko is just not getting a minute of time without thinking about this series and thinking about every angle and every opportunity and every possibility in his head right now. This is the way he is. It's like when the offseason's going on, Darko doesn't take the offseason. He's watching basketball games from all around the world that he didn't get to see while he was busy coaching the Raptors. He's reading books from people in other sports and in the basketball too, and just to learn his knowledge base, to expand it and to be more creative and have more ideas floating around his head, to be inspired. He's always doing this kind of stuff. We've got to understand he has trouble balancing his work-life balance. He gets in trouble with Gaga and his son and all the time because he's like, Dad, why don't you stop working? I can't. We're playing the Cavs this weekend, and it's the playoffs. I have to do this. I'm just going to do this. Hey, you can come and eat at least for a little while. No, I need to do this. This is the attitude that Darko has. This is the way he works, y'all. He's obsessed. And he's going to be figuring out stuff in the days since he doesn't have games to prepare for except for the series this weekend. He has all these days in a row. Him and Pat Delaney, Coco, and Jama and Mary and Mike Batiste, all them. They are all a hive mind, and they are all coming with all kinds of different ideas and thinking about this and this. Well, what if we do this with Harden? What about this matchup with Allen and Yak? What can we do with this and this? They're going through it all. They're not leaving a stone unturned. They are brainstorming and creatively thinking and just thinking about what are all the possibilities and what is the best game plan and what should we do. I'm telling you right now, it's like that. And Gaga is probably like, this week's I thought we'd get time together, Darko. You're not having any games for 5 days. I thought we'd get time together. I'm sorry, honey. It's the playoffs. And I have to prepare. This is a family life at Darko's house. I'm telling you right now. Fueled by cappuccino and nose in the books and just constantly obsessing. I'm telling you right now, that's our coach. That's our coach. Seriously, he's not getting no rest right now. He is obsessing about this 24/7 all week. Watch. HC's here. Good to see. Our Raptor freak, Yahoo NBA fantasy champion of the year. Yeah. Rise and shine. Lex has been meaning to link up, but I've been stuck at home since Sunday with a toddler who has a fever. Something is going around. Yeah, I haven't been feeling that great either. I had to sneeze just now. Yeah, I've had a couple of little issues here with different things myself. I'll come to your house if you're comfortable with that. Come straight to your house. You don't have to make any effort. I'll drive to your house and I'll come knock on your door. I'll ring the bell and I'll say, "Hey, here's your trophy, HC." Hand it to you, take the picture, and get back in my truck and come home. If that can work for you, HC, I'll do that. Because if you're at home and you're stuck there, I don't mind doing it that way. Especially, I don't mind a good drive, and this is worth it to me because I'd like to get the trophy to you, and I'd like to do it in person. I don't want to mail it to you. I think it's a lot more fun for me in the past when I've delivered Raptor Freak prizes that I've done that. You could do it the way G did it too, where G just gave me his address and I went there and he wasn't there, and I just left the prize for him on the doorstep, and he came and got it later when he won the trivia championship. He won a JYD signed jersey at the very first Raptor Freak trivia championship, and I walked to his house from my house. That was the cool thing because I kind of lived near him at that time, and I walked through Toronto to get to G's house to deliver his prize. Now, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to be there if you don't want to see me. It'd be nice to take the picture, but I'll come and drop it off at your doorstep. Seriously, if you want me to do that. If you don't want me to know where you live, too, I'll respect that also. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay's saying this. I told this Cavs fan who don't make the same mistakes and fall in love with Harden. Just ask Houston, Brooklyn, the Sixers, and the Clippers. For some reason, these Cavs fans believe Harden is the second coming of the king, LeBron James. Well, I will say this. James's time is ticking. And in some ways, he has learned some lessons from his last couple stops. He learned a lesson in Brooklyn. There's no shortcuts making a super team. He learned a lesson in Philly. Health is good. And maybe if I pass more, I might be a better player for my team as a point guard. In Clippers, he just learned, we're a bunch of old guys. It doesn't mean we're going to win too. Super teams don't win necessarily. So I don't know. James knows the clock is ticking, and he's a smart guy in some ways, and he's got to figure this out. If he doesn't do it now, he'll never do it. But I think that your premise is right, Shaq Lindsay, is they don't understand how much James Harden can let you down, and they want to believe the optimal possibility with him. They don't want to believe the possible worst possibility with him. And they can go ahead and just believe that, he's going to be the absolute best James Harden he can be. Well, it's going to be somewhere in the middle. It's not going to be the worst, probably. It's not going to be the best. It'll be somewhere in the middle. And we're just going to have to figure out how we can beat him. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's of course, we're going to do this too. I mean, to an extent, we all want the best Ingram, right? We want the best Ingram for this playoff. But me, I'm not a fool enough to know. I know that this team is not totally dependable for the Raptors. And we're just going to have to see which Raptors show up, which level of skill and execution. In some ways, they may not be exactly right, but I'm hoping they are. And I hope that they're very prepared, and I hope that they just play very well and kick the Cavs' ass too. But I'm not so blind to think, the Raptors are just going to be absolutely the best and amazing. No, I know there's a range of what could be possible with their performance. There's a range. Let's just say that. Yeah. Fiercey's here. Good morning to MJ. Good morning, fam, and happy Wednesday. Yeah, happy Wednesday. We got a court and we got a center, another center. The center depth for the tempo is actually pretty good. Really, really good with Fagbenle and Sabali. And we've got some size and we've got some good shoring up there. It's going to be really, like I said, and this may be a little early, we're going to have to figure out this training camp battle for who's going to make the actual team. Like I said, there's 12 spots on a WNBA roster, and there's like a couple of developmental spots. And, we could start filling in the for sures, and then the people that are maybe fringe and maybe trying to make the team. And we'll see kind of where that all lays out in the next few weeks before the season starts. Marina Mabry, Brittany Sykes, Isabel Harrison, Temi Fagbenle, they're going to be on the team. Kiki Rice. Wright Rogers kind of made an indication that Tiani Key is expected to come to training camp and try and make the team too. So there's, we'll have to see what happens with this. And a lot of the expansion draft people, the people we got in the expansion draft, none of them are totally guaranteed. Let's just put it that way. Most of them are going to be kind of like trying to make the team, show up and try and kick some butt and do really well, impress and earn your spot. Because there's going to be a lot of that kind of stuff coming up. Yeah. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying, but of course, they will re-sign him to a multi-year deal. And when things go sour, the finger starts pointing at players, coaches, organization, and fans. Not just saying any finger. It's the middle finger. You're still talking about James Harden. Yeah, I mean, whatever happens with that, we can't worry about what happens later. If he's a big, huge failure this postseason, well, are they going to invest in him like that then? Maybe not. So we'll just have to see. One step at a time. The game one is the next step. And we'll see what happens at 1 p.m. on Saturday. That's the game. That's the first step. That's the first step right there. Kaz is here. Good morning, Trucker Kaz. Good morning, Lex and Rat Free Crew. The court looks great. Yeah, I think that if I put a poll up right now, and we'll see, maybe we'll see what you guys say. Let's say, how do you like the new court? The new tempo court. That's all I'm asking. Simple question. Let's see if we get a good result. Let's see. Poll of the day. Let's see what y'all are saying right there. Let's see. All right. Where am I in the chat? Shaq Lindsay saying Harden is a ticking time bomb. His resume speaks for itself. I'm just saying nobody's been able to rely on him. Some people are saying that his playoff record is not his fault, and he's actually done really well. But I would argue that's not totally true. There is definitely evidence where he has not shown up in certain games and he's failed and dropped the ball and put his team out himself. So people trying to revise history, Cavs fans, and say, no, the times he's failed in the playoffs are not his fault. It's the teams he was on's fault. Okay, you go ahead and start rewriting history that way, like you want to, like that. That's right. Yeah. HC saying this, that Scotty video, dude was an idiot, just a groupie that wanted a moment. The rule usually is when a man is with his kids, you stand down. Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid. I don't understand it. Like, look, if you'd approach Scotty in the right way, first of all, you got to understand that he's busy and he's just an ordinary person. He's not like, people got to remember that. And, like I said, he made it very clear to us on Twitch. If you have children and they really want to come take a picture with Scotty, he'll take the second to do that. But if you're an adult and you do not have a child with him, don't expect anything from him. Seriously. And I know Scott appreciates me saying this for him when he doesn't have to say it himself, because he said it to us years ago and that stuck with me. And I understand this is his philosophy. He's a nice guy and he may still take pictures for adults, but it's not what he wants to do. It's like, it's one thing for a child that he looks at him as a hero and he wants to come through for that. But if it's like me, no, you don't give a shit about taking a picture with me, even though he did take a picture with me at a Subway pop-up event once. And it was fun. And he got to meet the Raptors freak. But yeah, that guy, that's like the worst of Toronto, that dude in that car. There are people that are idiots like him that just are so egotistical and so self-centered. They have no sense of who they are and what they are in the community. And they coming at people like that, talking like they're hot shit, clout chasing. Yeah, I can't stand people like that. That they're so stuck in their ego. And this guy will probably say, I'm a huge Raptors fan. I love the Raptors. I've been cheering for them for so long. And I was there with the championship parade. And I was like, okay, buddy. So why are you coming at Scotty like that? Why are you talking shit like that to Scotty? If you're such a Raptors fan, seriously, that's not fan behavior. That's toxic citizen of the world behavior. Is what you're doing. That's right. Fiercely saying this, the tempo making amazing moves. Those saying Fagbenle is overpaid. Sears clearly do not know her game. We are building a great squad. Some idiot who keeps trolling the Raptors account has now spread his venom on the tempo posts of Kiki answering cool questions, saying, hope she's really happy to be there. I gave it to him, idiot. I mean, I'm telling you that all the same stuff we deal with in Raptors Nation is going to be felt in Tempo Nation. And it sucks. I wish it wouldn't be like that. It does seem like there are some differences between NBA fans and WNBA fans. And that in some ways, WNBA fans are more progressive and more like cool with each other from fan nations. And there's a little bit more of a family feel overall for the WNBA, which is good. But there's still all the toxic, dumb kind of fan behaviors. And there's a whole other dimension with like what we were dealing with troll account yesterday, being disrespectful to women in certain ways too. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun as a sociologist and somebody who likes to study social movements and social groups. Looking at the differences between WNBA culture and NBA culture is going to be absolutely fascinating to me. Absolutely fascinating. Absolutely. Yeah, they're going to be the same idiots in the same kind of ways. That's right. Shaq, 100% on the polls so far. I like it. Shaq Lindsay saying this. I also told my friend who is a Cavs fan that someone needs to tell Harden that we are playing full court. If IQ is healthy, he will run from one end of the court to the other end to get a drink before Harden gets back on defense. This is actually something that is very much a weapon for us, and it is an advantage, is that we're going to run. The Raptors at the beginning of the year were very, very much up and down the court very fast and on purpose. And we slowed it down. In some ways, we took a couple of notches of intensity down on our defense after really going all out right at the beginning of the year. In some ways, we could take the way the Raptors played at the beginning of the year as a possible preview for how they might play in these playoffs, because they trained at playing all out and just expending so much energy. And in some ways, that fed our 9-game win streak last fall. We haven't played that way for the whole marathon of the 82, but we did at the beginning of the year, and we did practice it. And there is a possibility with a week off and game 1 on Saturday at 1 p.m. that the Raptors are going to be reappearing in the playoffs with that crazy to 110 max volume percent going at it and going fast and playing as crazy and up and down the court. How's that going to do for a big man like Jared Allen and a guy like James Harden? Yeah. That formula works. And in some ways, it wasn't sustainable for the whole 82, but we practice it and we have it as a characteristic. And it is an aspect that we can pull on people. And it could very well be a key to winning this series against the Cavs, is that the Raptors ratchet up the intensity and the speed of the game. And they play so all out all over them. And they just don't know how to deal with it. Yeah, this could be a game plan that Darko puts in there. And James Harden don't like to run. We do know this. And this is what Shaq Lindsay's saying. That's right. Fiercey's saying, why are people bothered with our logo? Interesting how insecurity unveils the characters and essence of individuals, the way they hate and lack support. I'm just saying, we haven't even played a game yet. And we already have haters. It's crazy. And some of it is coming from Portland. Like the Portland Fire Nation, in some ways, I guess it's because of the Carlton thing, that we have shots fired already. And there's already kind of animosity between the Portland fan nation and the Toronto Tempo fan nation. I mean, I get it. In some ways, we were disappointed. That's a logical, natural response to seeing a Canadian player get picked first in the expansion draft and Portland snatch him. In some ways, don't act like you didn't do that in a swarmy way. And in some ways, it's like, yeah, you had the rights to do it. And I'm very happy that we picked 5th and got Kiki Rice instead of picking first in the expansion draft, because we're number 1 on the waiver wire list too. And, this was the best choice for Monica and Eli, is to take the 5th pick in the entry draft and not pick first in the expansion draft. I have no problem with that, but it made us lose Bridget, and that's fine. And in some ways, I feel bad for Bridget. It's exactly kind of like how I felt for RJ when he got drafted by the Knicks. It's kind of like, this isn't what she wanted. She wanted to come play for the Tempo. We know Bridget Carlton wanted to come play for the Tempo, and the Fire just jumped in the middle and got in there because they're just obstructionists. Maybe they're just haters and stuff like that. That's fine. You got Bridget. But we had a natural reaction to that where we're like, well, okay, Portland. Okay, go ahead and do that. And that's natural. That's natural for us to react like this. But now it's all like, okay, now it seems like this will be a rivalry, the two expansion teams coming in this year, that this will be a rivalry, and partly sparked by Bridget Carlton. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it. Trevor's saying the Indiana Fever look like they're having some money problems to sign Aaliyah Boston max contract. Okay. That's interesting. That is interesting. Neil's got the alien going. All right. We got somebody here. We got a new subscription. Thank you for the subscription. Let's see. Truth Zone Aho. Truth Zone Aho? Truth Zone Aho. Okay, that's an interesting name. Court is nice, I must say. Makes me want to go to center court, lay flat on my back. Oh, this is this guy back again. All right, the Brittany Griner fan is really into coming in here. I feel like there's a bot or there's somebody that just hates the WNBA. And if there's ever a WNBA kind of streams, they're just going to come in and be like ugly males and misogynists. And they think that they're so cool and stuff. All right, Truth Zone a hoe. We're going to zone you out. You are the hoe. You have been determined to be the hoe. Wow, I feel so lucky to get so many subscriptions because this is what happens when this person does this. Like they made 3 accounts yesterday and they made another one today. If I just cancel all of them, they just become subscriptions and they just stay subscriptions forever. I'm just adding subscriptions and they're going away. And that's awesome. Keep making accounts. You're going to make my subscription count go up. Thank you, Truth Zone Aho. There's your Truth Zone, buddy. All right, let's see. Fiercely saying court is really nice. I was giddy when watching the reveal video. You were giddy, Josh Giddy? I was like, you know, I totally forgot about the court being revealed yesterday. And then they had the event. I was like, oh, I didn't put 2 and 2 together, that they're having the before the bounce event to actually unveil the court. And I think they did that really well. It was really, really cool. It was a great event. It looked like an awesome event. Trevor's saying this, Darko's going to bring out the big book of different plays against Cleveland. Exactly. This man is thinking about all kinds of different aspects, different possibilities. And, you know, they're going to figure it out. And it's not just him. It's him with his coaches. They all are a group, hive mind. And they are all kind of scheming and plotting and thinking and figuring it out. You know, I bet you Darko may be like keeping a constant contact with Jama and Eric and Coco and Pat and all the rest of them, and just kind of like Evo, just kind of keeping up with that. This is, yeah, and this and this. I'm sure this stuff is going on right now. There's major coaches meetings right now. I think the players have gotten a chance to kind of go decompress and go say hi to people for a couple of days, but they will be coming in for practice. I'm hoping they're practicing today for sure. They may have taken 2 days off the last 2 days because there were some signs that some of the Raptors went home in the last 2 days to different places around the States. And they can come back and be back for today, hopefully, with doing a good practice run over the next 3 days to lead up to Saturday. But it's good for them to get a recharge and maybe a little bit of time away to reflect. Once again, reflection is very important to get further in your life. That's right. G saying this, Boston is under contract this year. Next year, there's money off the books. Many WNBA creators thrive on fear-mongering and drama. Just an FYI for people newly turning into the WNBA. Well, that's the same as the model for the NBA, so it'll be par for the course. Fear-mongering and worry and all this kind of stuff. Oh, my gosh, overpaid. Jakob's overpaid. Temi's overpaid. It's the same thing, honestly. We could say that. Them talking about Pirtle being overpaid, it's the same thing as talking about Temi being overpaid. It's the same action. It's the same bullshit. Same stuff. That's right. That's right. Let's see what else is going on in the chat with you guys. So awesome to see so many great Raptor freaks in here. Let's see. Fiercely saying Marina Mabry posting tempo stuff on her Instagram stories. Yeah, she posted the draft picks. She's very proud of the class coming in. Kiki Rice, Tiani Key, and the Australians. So Marina's in. Marina Mabry's in. And, you know, Teresa Resch revealed this at the court event last night, that she said on the mic last night to the crowd that she got the paperwork in first out of all the WNBA teams. So Marina Mabry is actually technically the first $1 million player in WNBA history, because the Tempo front office sent in the paperwork first, and she technically could be called the first ever $1 million player in the WNBA. Money Mabry. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. They're going to call her Cash Money Mabry. Well, Cash Money Mabry got the first mill in the WNBA, technically, because the paperwork was filed in a certain order, and Marina Mabry was the first one that went through. That's kind of cool right there. I mean, I'm sure they all went through right afterwards after that. But yeah, that's a cool little factoid that we learned from the Before the Bounce event last night. Very, very cool. Seymour saying this. Thank you, Portland, for continuing the Kardashian. I don't use that word. That word shouldn't be used in this channel. Laugh out loud, Booker. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I don't like that. I hate that. I hate that. Is Devin Booker still with a Kardashian? Is he? Yeah, I would have thought he got away from that mess. You know, look what it did to Lamar Odom. Come on now. Be smart, young men. Chris Humphries, where are you now? Yeah, where is he? No, we ain't doing this. I don't believe in that C word in any kind of way. I don't live in that life in that kind of word. And in some ways, the other thing about that is, isn't the term of statute of limitations kind of over on Booker on that? Is he still with a Jenner or something? Is that what it is? He's with a Jenner, isn't he? He's with a Jenner, isn't he? Yeah, I don't care about the TMZ of the lives of the NBA and WNBA players. I don't care about who's with who, unless it gets in the way of basketball. That's all. That's all. Excuse me. Seymour saying, wow, playing was mad hype. Yeah, they had a good night last night. Good, but Amazon dropped the ball. Idiots. You're idiots. You got it so badly wrong that LeBron James is coming at y'all on social media for not showing the last part of the overtime. I mean, how? What a joke. They did this to the Raptors years ago. We were playing on Sportsnet, and it was an overtime game against the Bucks, and I think it was like a playoff game or something. But because they went over their time, Sportsnet cut the Sportsnet center, and the game was still going on. I'm like, why the fuck are we in the studio with the anchors? The basketball game's still going on. This is just casual. This is like rookie journalist, like sports network kind of shit. Oh, we're going to cut away from the game and go because this is the scheduled programming. Fuck that. This is a basketball game. There's overtime. You know, they just really screwed up when they did that, man. They really screwed up. Uji Bougi's here. Good morning to Uji Bougie. One of the latest, greatest additions and acquisitions to the Raptor Freak family. That's right. Acquired Uji Bougie in the expansion draft of the Raptor Freak family. That's right. Playing was super entertaining, both games, and happy to see the wonderful design and proud of the moves Tempo are making. It's exciting. Like Trevor was saying yesterday in the Discord, he can't wait to see this team. And I'm like, Trevor, I can't wait too. He's like, this team is going to be so good, Lex. And I'm like, I feel it too, Trevor. Trevor can't wait because he wants to see this team play. Now that we got Temi, we got Isabel Harrison, we got Brittany Sykes, we got some bona fide WNBA players. Aaliyah Nye looks like a dead eye. Woo-wee! She can shoot. Woo-wee! There's a clip of her on her Instagram stories just bombing threes like automatic. And they're just feeding her shots. And she's just nailing threes like automatic. I have a feeling I'm really going to like Aaliyah Nye's shooting skills for the Toronto Tempo. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's official. Kia Nurse is in the fold. And that's going to be so awesome. Seymour saying, remember when Booker told our mascot to get off the court in our own gym? F him. You deserve that L, Booker. Bye-bye. I got to get my 100 shots up. I'm all ears, folks. All right, so Seymour is stepped away from the keyboard. He's got the rock, and he's shooting the shots in the warehouse at work on the clock. He's putting in his shots while he's in the warehouse at his work in Alberta right now. Yeah, that's what's going on right now. And I love the multitasking. He's listening to my voice in the gym, in the warehouse, and he's putting shots up there. That's multitasking. That's basketball love. That's basketball love right there. Yeah, I can't stand the guys on the Trailblazers more than Devin Booker, though. I like Devin Booker. I'm not mad at Devin Booker. I thought that whole thing with him and the Toronto Raptor was hilarious. In some ways, they have made light of it in time since. That makes it so fun when Devin Booker and the Raptor are around each other. I don't hate Devin Booker like you do. I think that he's cool. I think he's a very good player. They beat us good when they came, when we played them in Phoenix that one game. Because it's like Devin Booker's just like that. He's a very good offensive player. So I respect him. I have way more respect for him than Jalen Green. So, I like Devin Booker. I like Dylan Brooks. I was going for the Phoenix Suns last night, not for the Trailblazers. Not for the Trailblazers. No, no, no. No, no, no. But we can be opposite on this. G's saying this at Seymour. Maybe the Portland red jerseys gave him Raptors mascot flashbacks. That's hilarious, G. That's hilarious. Cool Cat saying this. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Love the court. The keys in the shooting ring is amazing. Yeah. 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 I like it too. I think it's a very classy design. The design we saw last week that was fan made had the Toronto skyline on it with the tower. This one's much more low key, but very subtle and elegant. I really do like the lines up the middle of the court, extending from the free throws into the center court with the logo and then into the other end. I really like that. Some ways that's kind of like some of the designs for the in-season tournament game courts for the NBA. They have that lane in the middle sometimes with the lanes going right through the middle with the championship trophy in the middle. That kind of like that. Yeah. Yeah. Isaac likes my hat. You like my Tempo hat that I got? Yeah. I'm a man that wears many hats. And well, I'm going to be wearing Tempo hats along with Raptor hats coming up. Isaac Campbell, thank you for holding it down in the nation's capital, Ottawa. The benevolent one, Isaac Campbell. That's right. Original Raptor Freak. That's right. Fiercely saying this. Portland got Bridget. We got Kia. A Canadian on each team. What's the issue? I know what it is. Media spaces talk more about the tempo. Our moves and acquisitions make more noise, create anticipation. I have a theory that having Bridget Carleton on the Portland Fire is good for attracting Canadians from BC and the West Coast to jump the border and go to Portland Fire games. That makes sense, right? That maybe it's smart for Portland Fire to have a Canadian player on their team too, so that, the proximity to the border, maybe there will be Canadian fans that can't make it all the way to Toronto or to Vancouver to see the tempo when they play their games there, that they can jump the border and go to Portland Fire games. And, there's a Canadian player on the Portland Fire to root for there. I mean, that makes sense to me, right? That maybe that's good for that. I mean, Kia Nurse, the thing was that I was saying before this all went down that I thought the Tempo would have Carleton and Nurse, both of them, and that we'd have two Canadian players on our team this year. But it didn't work out that way. But we got Kia Nurse, and we knew we would. She's amazing. Kia is glowing right now. And what happened yesterday may have been one of the best days of her life. I'm not going to lie. The energy around Kia Nurse is just different because of this situation that's happened. She did an interview yesterday, and she was so emotional about the tempo. She is basically saying, if you told myself 20 years ago as a little kid in Hamilton that I would get to live this dream right now of playing for a Toronto WNBA team and playing and representing Canada, I would tell you, oh my gosh, you serious? She's just so happy right now. Like, this is very much, I knew it was like this. And you could tell even on the broadcast with Leo, in some ways, if the tempo or anything came up, that there was something about the energy with her and just the delight of it all. And she's very open and honest, because this is a different Kia Nurse than what we see on the broadcast on TSN. She's sassy, analytical, and kind of just like playing around with Leo and Kate verbally. This was a very serious, emotional Kia Nurse that I saw in the interview yesterday. One that's talking about very deep stuff that is just the most important thing to the essence of her core. And that is the growth of basketball, the empowerment of women in Canada through the sport of basketball. And the fact that she can do it now in her home country on the Toronto Tempo is not something she takes lightly. I'm telling y'all right now. And the way she was speaking about signing with the Tempo yesterday, it made it sound like she has long-term plans, that if they'll have her, she will stick with them as long as she can. She did sign for the veteran minimum, guys. And it could very well be that, Kia is not necessarily one of the main players, but she is a rotation player and somebody who's an ambassador and the face of Canadian basketball for young Canadian women across the country. And I think that in some ways that's an important role. We'll have to see if she can have longevity on the team and stick around for many years to come, because that would be ideal for her, I think. And I think as long as it works for Monica and Teresa's plans, that she should stick around with the Tempo as long as she can. Because especially if she's going to allow them to sign her to veteran minimums, and she can hang around and be part of the culture and be part of the leadership and to be a strong, true representative of the true North Strong and Free Canada as the Canadian player on the Tempo. This is deep, man. This is different. The energy is different with Kia than what you would see on TSN with Kate and Leo. She is very emotional about this, and she's really, really taken this opportunity very seriously to play for the Tempo and represent Canada in the WNBA. It's a powerful, beautiful thing, man. I'm telling you, man. It's a powerful, beautiful thing. Cool Cat saying this: both playing games were exciting last night. Shows the level of quality and competitive players. Great drama. Yeah. Congrats to Kia Nurse on making history, the first Canadian on our Toronto Tempo. Great vet to introduce players to the culture. Yeah. And I think that Marina actually showed love to Kia about the signing too. She posted something about the draft picks, and she posted the story of Kia Nurse signing to the Tempo. I don't know if their paths have crossed at some point in their careers. They may have been teammates at some point, but Mabry and Nurse, they may have a history together already as veterans in the WNBA. And well, it seems like Marina likes Kia. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. That's right. Smooth saying Suns play the winner of the Clippers Warriors, I think. Yeah. 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 Portland earned the right to play San Antonio in the first round. And the Phoenix Suns are not out. They have to play the loser of the Clippers and the Warriors. No, they have to play the winner. The winner tonight between the Warriors and the Clippers will play the Suns for the right to play the Thunder in the first round of the playoffs. That's how it works. So the Suns are waiting. They're going to play on Friday against the winner of tonight's game between Clippers and Warriors. That's it. And whoever loses tonight will be out between the Warriors and the Clippers. Yeah, that's how it works. Cool Cat saying Dylan the villain makes every team better when he joins them. Look how fast the Grizzlies fell off when traded. Yeah, you could even make the argument that the Rockets have sorely missed him this season too. And Phoenix's uptick is very evident. You got to think about, what did Phoenix do the last few years? They were really huge failure around Kevin Durant's years. And well, in some ways, it's kind of proving that Dylan Brooks adds up to winning better than Kevin Durant in some ways. It's kind of weird. But yeah, the Suns didn't get a full outright playoff spot like they looked like they would all season, and they did fall into the play-in. So I think the injury to Dylan Brooks was part of that they lost him for the second half of the season. And as I said earlier, the Suns became a two-man show with Green and Booker kind of carrying them. Yeah, not even Grayson Allen stepping up and doing anything for them either. It's kind of crazy. Let's see. G saying the NBA will review what LaMelo did with ruling expected before their next game. Good. We do want to see crime get punished. This is not a lawless world, Pam Bondi. And we do need to get, accountability for people. They're trying to release all the miscreants from January 6th, saying, oh, these people that planned this insurrection, they should be absolved of all their convictions that were found in the last administration. It's messed up. We can't live in a lawless world. We need to have accountability. And if LaMelo Ball was dirty and what he did to Bam Adebayo last night, he should pay for it. Because seriously, this world, we can't have anarchy. We can't have this world where it's just chaos and criminals are just allowed to run free and do whatever the hell they want to society. We have to have laws. There needs to be justice. And, the idiot in charge in the States, he's a big, huge criminal who needs to face justice. He needs to go to prison because he's a war criminal. He's a pedophile. He's a rapist. And he's a murderer. He's all those things. He's literally all those things. And that is not hearsay. That is true. There's evidence of all these things. So, yeah. Let's see. Seymour saying, I feel bad for Dylan, but I'm happy for Shaden. Well, Dylan's not out. He still has a chance to get a ticket to play his old friend SGA in the first round if they can win on Friday night. If the Suns can win on Friday night. They're still in. They're not out totally. So don't feel too bad for Dylan Brooks. He's still got a chance. Yeah, you're happy for Shaden Sharp? I can get behind Shaden Sharp. He may be one. I like him and Drew Holiday. Those are maybe the only two guys on the Trailblazers that I like. Everybody else I don't like. I don't like Klingon. I don't like Scoot Henderson. I don't like Denny. I really don't like Denny. So, like, fuck that team. The two guys I like on that team are the great citizen Drew Holiday and our Canadian Shaden Sharp. Delando's not even on that team anymore. So, yeah, Cool Cat's saying this. Shaden Sharp has improved beautifully. His three-point shot, now he's a double threat. His leaping ability amazes me still. Yeah, he is a very, very good athlete. That's for sure. All right, let me go check on my tabs a little bit, guys, and see what we're talking about today. Yeah, we kind of talked about Amazon failing with the broadcast last night. That's kind of annoying. Very, very, very annoying. Let's see. I talked about that already. I talked about the schedule for the Raptors playoffs, what's going on. Let's see what's going on the breaking news. They're saying that there's going to be Canadian senior men's basketball summer coming up. So Josh Bloomberg saying after closing the first round of FIBA 2027 World Cup qualifiers in Hamilton in July, they'll go to the second round in Quebec City. So there's going to be Team Canada games played in Quebec this summer. They're host a game in Videotron Center on August the 31st. There you go. And they remain undefeated in the qualifying rounds for World Cup. So that's very cool. So more basketball in Canada with Team Canada. And this is the premium Canada team. This is going to be like SGA and Dylan and RJ. They're going to be playing in July in Hamilton. And there will be playing a game in August in Quebec City, according to Blake Murphy and Josh Bloomberg online. Blake Murphy's got an interesting article out on the Leafs this morning from the New York Times. And they're saying the stunning fall of the Maple Leafs, chaos, dysfunction, and AI. Apparently, the Leafs were using AI this season to help what they were doing. It's saying this. Keith Pelly didn't come empty-handed either. He had notes that included possible trade returns that Leaf staff members believe were generated by large language models and artificial intelligence, tools that have become increasingly influential at the top of MLSE, but hadn't been part of the usual business. That's interesting aspect that the Leafs were using AI, and this was by Keith Pelly, to make some of the decisions they were doing this year. They failed. You know, I'm going to say this once again. I'm glad Keith Pelly don't know jack shit about the NBA and basketball, because he would be meddling with the Raptors if he could. Trust me. So don't try and learn nothing about basketball. Keep basketball to the basketball people. Bobby Webster. Yeah. And Dan Tolzman. Yeah. Yeah. You don't need to be coming around with your AI ideas with Bobby Webster on the Raptors. Keith Pelly.
Bobby, I wanted to come in and talk to you. I like to use the Open AI by Sam Altman. It's great. I've been using it in my life. I've actually got more, lost some weight in my own life because AI told me how to do it.
That's great, Keith. We're busy. It's the playoffs this week. We're getting things right.
You know, the AI didn't really work for the Leafs, but maybe it worked for the Raptors somehow.
You know, Keith, I am really busy right now. The Cavs playoff series is this weekend. If you don't mind.
Oh, okay, Bobby, I'm out. I'll let basketball people do basketball stuff.
You know, what is this? You know, AI is made the Leafs fail. So, Leaf Nation, go burn down a data center. That's funny. That's funny to me. Oh, no, it's not 100% anymore on the poll. One person has voted they do not like the tempo court. I want to see who that is. Somebody, whoever said no, write in your reason for why you don't like the tempo court. And I'm not going to get mad at you. It's just opinion. It's just opinion. Go ahead. Tell us why you don't like the tempo court. I want to know. Seriously, I want to know. I was hoping there'd be a perfect 100%. But there's somebody who doesn't like the tempo court. I wonder what it is. I wonder why. Yeah. Let's see. Guys, straight goods on Canadian goods. They revealed the court last night. And I was thinking court. Well, like a quart of jug of juice or something like that. Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. Although it's not a quart, it's 3 liters of apple cider. This is apple cider by Bennett's Apple Cider. And they're Ontario company here. This is Bennett's Apple Cider. Woo-wee, this is good stuff. I like drinking this stuff. And let me read you a little bit about Bennett's and the company they are here. With over 90 years of pressing experience, we've been able to select a delicious blend of fresh Ontario apples to create a premium taste that our customers have been enjoying for years. All of our apples are handpicked off the trees, inspected and washed before going to the press. In 1996, we installed a new belt press that was shipped from Germany to replace our laborsome rack and cloth press. The new press has the ability to press 3,600 liters per hour. Wow, they can make a lot of apple cider real quick. All cider that is bottled here at Bennett's has been flash pasteurized, ensuring a safe and healthy product for you and your family. We are federally inspected by the CFIA, and our cider is deemed kosher. There you go. So the Bennett's family has been making apple cider and apple goods for a long time. Todd and Richard Bennett, with their wives, Carrie and Andrea, are the partners together, and they're responsible for different aspects of the Bennett apple cider empire. So, yeah, good stuff. They have a long history. They started this in 1910, the Bennett family, with their acres of apples and making apple cider. So support Canadian goods, straight goods on Canadian goods. We got apple cider, yo. Apple cider. That's what you want right there. That's right. You want the apple cider. That's right. Who was it? Who voted against the court? Who was it? That's right. We got to find out. Trevor's saying Kia is a great veteran for Kiki because both of them play the same position. Okay. Yeah, I listen, I think it's very interesting. Kiki Rice, the makeup of her as a young woman is beyond her years. You know, we could maybe make some comparisons to the mental capabilities and maturity of Jamal Shed with Kiki Rice, as far as prepared and ready to come into the league with a wise beyond their years kind of mentality as far as maturity and professionalism. I get this completely from Kiki Rice. And I think that was one of the things that was attractive to Teresa and them to get her, is that she's very polished, and to be that kind of person like Damon Stoudemire as the first draft pick, it's a very important role. And you have to be able to be well-spoken and kind of be ready for questions, because, all year people are going to be asking Kiki questions about Canada, playing for the tempo, the differences and all this stuff. And in the first year of the Raptors, Damon Stoudemire was a very good statesman and a role model and a representative for the inaugural expansion Toronto Raptors. And well, Kiki Rice is going to be kind of like this. In some ways, her being more worldly, more astute, and more mature young woman is going to really benefit her in the PR for the Toronto Tempo in this first year. That she gets questions from the press, she's going to know how to handle it the right way. She's very well polished, I can tell. So I'm excited about that. And yeah, having a media superstar in Canada like Kia Nurse on your team, well, that's the other thing. Kia is already an established broadcaster in the middle of her WNBA career. If there's any of the women on the Toronto Tempo that have aspirations for broadcasting career later on, Kia Nurse is a great veteran for that in some ways. And he's like, oh, listen, if you want to do what Rebecca Lobo and I do, after you're done, I can teach you some stuff, Kiki. It's that kind of stuff, with that, any of the Tempo players that are interested in broadcasting. Kia is a wealth of knowledge, just like Garrett Temple for the NBA rules. That's right. Oh, whoa, Seymour's coming at people, knives out, for voting against the Tempo court. Whoa, we have another person who's voted against it now. We have 2 votes against it. Oh, my gosh. Well, I still like the court, and 88% of us like the court. So I think it's a success. It's joking. Whoa, it's probably the troll. Yeah, it could be the troll. Who knows? It's interesting, the troll. Like, is the troll so offended or threatened by women being powerful and playing sports that they have to make jokes about Brittany Griner like they're doing? I mean, that's really what this is. This is small man's behavior. This is insecure, little immature man's behavior. Oh, no, the women get paid to play basketball too, like the men. Oh, I'm threatened, so I'm going to act like an insecure little idiot and make sexual comments and be disrespectful. I mean, that's what this is. This is a person who's not fully developed themselves as a mature person like Kiki Rice. And they may be even like way older than Kiki. They could be double her age and they're still acting like this immature, undeveloped brain that this troll is that comes in here and does what they're doing. Yeah, that's what this is. Seriously, it's kind of sad. It's like you're missing out in life because you're stupid and you're obviously limited in your very sexist, misogynist views, and you think you're funny too. Well, you've got the mentality of a 13-year-old, is what I would say. But yeah, Bennett's apple cider. It's great. All right, let's see. Here's my Raptors Redditor of the day for today. It's Sneeches Get Leeches. Sneeches Get Leeches. What a great name. In some ways, you're a Redditor of the day just for your name. It's his opinion. Let him fucking know is what it is right here. All right, I love this. This is a pep talk. This is like Scary Terry before the fourth quarter. Raptors fans got to remember, there's honestly zero pressure on this team going into the playoffs. Nobody expected us to be a top 5 team in the East this season. We're 10 games over 500, and we already overachieved just getting to the 5th seed. Scotty took a real leap this year, and we addressed scoring with BI and RJ. We have a bench that's serviceable, and there's no denying that this team feels different than last year. This season was supposed to be about development, and we've clearly taken a big step, full marks. Anything that happens now is just a bonus. If we can make it a competitive series, that's a win in itself. And if we win, that's just house money. Regardless of where we end up, the front office is going to look at this team and think, how can we make this even better? And honestly, it feels like we're right on track. Yes, Sneeches Get Leeches. You are the Raptors Redditor of the day. This is the exact stance of perspective that Raptors Nation should have right now about this year and where we're at. And if you're crashing out and expecting all kinds of crazy shit, you're on the wrong side of things. So let's just be happy. We've had an amazing year. And well, let's fuck around and find out with the Cavs and see if we can make some damage happen here where we actually beat them and maybe go even further in the playoffs than we expected. So that's what I'm saying right here. This is a great Reddit post. And I like Redditors like this person. Sneeches Get Leeches. Top notch. You get the thumbs up, the Raptors Redditor of the day. As I said earlier, our Raptor Freak WNBA Fantasy League draft will be in 10 days. On Saturday, April the 25th is now the date. I have had to switch it around to accommodate the Raptors playoff schedule. So we will do this on a Saturday, which is a little different than the Sunday draft times usually that we do for fantasy. So it'll be a Saturday morning draft just to make it clear to all 10 of our managers for this season coming up. So I had to switch that, unfortunately. There's no birthday today. There hasn't been any birthdays for the last couple of days, unfortunately. Let's see. Kareem saying this, I'm the second person who isn't too fond of the court. Whoa, okay. I wish is more like a giant bank card. Seriously, though, I wish rather a bit more purple and less the weird yellow haystack color. I still like it. It's funny is the descriptions here. Okay, so you think it looks like a bank card? I mean, I get that. Like, first of all, Kareem, any court can look like a bank card because it's the shape of it. It's the same shape as a bank card. You could take any court in the NBA and put it on a card, and it's a bank card. You know that, right? It's the same shape. Now, maybe it's because CIBC's on there. Is that what you had a problem with the jerseys too? I remember you're saying that CIBC is way too big in the middle of it. Are they playing for CIBC tempo? What is this? I get that. Maybe it's because CIBC is one of the top advertisers for the tempo, and they're prominently on the court. And you're like, oh, CIBC, that's my bank. So it looks like my bank card. I mean, I can kind of see why that's that way. I mean, I get it, I guess. I don't know. Does the court look like a bank card to you guys? I think it just looks like a court, and it has a CIBC logo on it. Now, you're saying something about like you would rather have a bit more purple and less of the weird yellow haystack color. Well, you know what that yellow haystack color is? That's hardwood basketball basic. That's like a hardwood floor. Like, that's not yellow. That's just the way basketball courts look around the league. Yellow haystack color, that's just a hardwood court, and that's like the hardwood. That's all that is, I think in some of the pictures, the colors aren't in justice. The thing about the Tempo's colors, even on here, you can't really see the subtlety of the powder blue with the Bordeaux. In some ways, these colors can get mixed up with not very good resolution in pictures to look more like gray or like brown or not exactly right. So you know, it may be, Kareem, you go to a Tempo game this year and you look at the court and you're like, whoa, those colors look totally different in real life. Like they really pop in person. On pictures, that doesn't do it justice, because that may be the case. You know, even this hat, like look at that hat. What does that color look like to y'all? It looks white, right? That's not white. That is the blue that this team is under. So it's like we have deceiving team colors that don't translate in all forums in different places sometimes to really show the freshness of the actual color. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Seymour saying, are you viewing the Raptor Freaks draft? How can we peep it? Oh, it's the draft. It'll be in Saturday. It'll be on the show. It'll be live on the show in 10 days from now on the 25th. We'll do a live WNBA fantasy draft on this channel for us to get our fantasy teams. Seymour, do you want to play fantasy? Do you want to play in the fantasy league this year? I have a spot if you want to be in there. You got to tell me you want it. You can message me or something. Let me know if you want to play WNBA fantasy, because I don't think you normally play fantasy with us. But if you wanted a spot, there is a team on the league right now that I'm wishy-washy about playing because they aren't really an active member of our channel. So if you want to play, you let me know right now. I'll kick them out and give you the 10th team if you want it. Yeah. Kareem's saying, no, I want it to look more like a bank card. You do want it to look like a bank card. Okay. I'm giving you a dunk for nonsense. I'm going to give you a dunk literally for nonsense right now. You want the court to look like a bank card. So maybe you don't want the Tempo logo in the center court where they jump. You'd rather it be a CIBC logo. Put it right in the middle there. All right, Kareem Thomas, you're getting your 63rd dunk of the year. That's right. There you go. Nonsense dunk. A nonsense dunk. It's just like a dunk that just happened, but it's like, why that happened? That's awesome. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Seymour saying, that's not a bad idea. I like it with a gold chip in the corner too. You want the chip in there too? Like put it over like one of the free throw lines on one side. You guys are wilding out, man. You're funny, man. Kaloy saying this. Good morning, Lex and everyone. Lex looking sharp with the Tempo gear. Thanks, man. Yeah, I debuted this sweatshirt that I got from Adriana. She's so sweet to get me fun swag. Yeah, and the hat too. She got me the hat too. So she's like, Adriana's been hooking me up with Tempo gear to get me ready for this season. Yeah, because I got to represent, right? We got to represent Canada's WNBA team. That's right. That's right. All right, let's do the classic card and we'll get out of here. We're almost at 2 hours. And there's no reason for me to go 3 hours. I don't know. I went 3 hours yesterday and it didn't seem right. I was like, why did I go 3 hours? All right, here we go. Full name answer, please. This is a pretty easy one to me, but maybe not to you guys. This is a 2-time NBA champion. Actually, he's more than 2 times. I think he won a championship with the Bulls too. So he's got like 3 or 4 championships. But the 2 I remember him for are the 2 with the Pistons, Bad Boys, in 89 and 90. Let's see if anybody knows who this classic card is today. Can you tell who that is? Let me get up real close. Yeah, this guy's awesome. This guy was one of my favorite players at this time. Seriously, this guy had, you know what they used to do? The Pistons used to open every game when this guy played for them with him in the post, and he'd make the first shot of every game. They'd lob the ball into him in the post, then he'd turn around and make a shot over his defender right at the beginning of the game. No, it's not Bill Cartwright. You got the wrong one. Bill Cartwright was the one for the Bulls. This is the Pistons, my guy. Hey, look, I think that's Andrew Wiggins. Is that Andrew Wiggins' dad back there? That might be, honestly. Maybe not. Maybe not. Because his dad was playing. No, that's not him. That's not him. That's not Mitchell. Yeah. But yeah, James Edwards is right. Kareem Thomas got it. That's Buddha, number 53. James Edwards. He was in the league for a long time before he won the championship with them, Suns and Pistons. And I think he was on the Cavs at some point too, right? But look at that. James Edwards, Fantastic player. Look at that side view. The guy's fighting for the ball on the floor. Yeah, I used to love Buddha. Buddha was awesome. 53, starting power forward center with the Pistons. Him and Lambeer were kind of the two big guys. And they always would, like I said, they'd start the game with feeding him the ball in the post. And James Edwards would have like a turnaround fadeaway on the baseline that he had, was money. And he'd make that shot and open the scoring for the bad boy Pistons. It wasn't usually Isaiah or Joe Dumars taking the shot. They'd feed James and let James get the first basket. Yeah, and that's classic basketball kind of stuff. Yeah. That does look like a Wiggins in the back. No, I think that this is a different guy. I want to say this guy's name was like Elston or something. So Eldridge or something. I think his name was Eldridge. Something like that. Salute to Kareem. That's right. Kareem Thomas getting the James Edwards. You know, he doesn't get the classic card very often. So I'm very proud of Kareem Thomas for his nonsense joke and getting the classic card. He's on fire. All right, I'm going to give you 100 points for Buddha. Porn star mustache. It was like a Hulk Hogan mustache. Very much the Hulk Hogan mustache. Like around down the sides. But yeah, this man was, his nickname was Buddha. They called him Buddha because they thought he looked like Buddha, you know, a Buddhist, Buddha. Yeah, that's what they called him. Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, porn star mustache. It's just this kind of mustache. People will grow these. My friend Stevie Roots has one of these mustaches these days. Like he likes growing the mustache like that coming down there. I'm going to tell him that next time. I'm going to say the Raptor Freaks think your mustache is a porn star mustache, Steve. He's like, oh, how do they know about my mustache? I told them about it. He's like, what? They think it's a porn star mustache? What does that even mean, man? I was like, dude, it's just that, you know, like you look like Ron Jeremy or John Holmes from like the 70s. That's what it means. What? That's crazy. This show. Oh my gosh. All right, let me see. Let's finish this out. Yeah, 1970s disco era. That's right. Well, James Edwards comes from that era, you know, by nature. It's like by honesty. It's not really like a weird thing. KT saying this, it's easier to build a franchise from the bottom up. We put all the pieces to the puzzle. We complete other teams trying to jigsaw puzzle their way around. Tempo did a great job. Well, the great thing about the clean slate for the Tempo is exactly what you're saying. It's kind of like a garden. If you don't have any plants in your garden yet, you can start from scratch and put in what you want. Hopefully there's no seeds that are in there that'll grow weeds around and you didn't realize it. That's one of the things that Teresa, and with Masai involved as a owner, in some ways, his whole idea of his culture and how he set things with Toronto. Think about how he did things. Everybody that came through Toronto during the Masai era, and even still to this day with Bobby in charge, they're quality, good character people. And it seems like the WNBA, just like the NBA, can have a lot of drama, can have feuds, can have issues with teammates. I mean, there's a whole other dimension to problems with teammates if they're going to be dating each other. I mean, that's a whole other level of like, there could be team friction because two of our star players are actually in a relationship and they're in a fight all of a sudden. You know, there's all kinds of stuff like that. So it's just like, you know, I think that Teresa Resch with Monica Wright-Rogers is building a team with good character from the start. And hopefully we can avoid some of the extra headaches that some teams go through because of maybe dysfunction or toxic relationships or people not getting along. It's very, very important to have a chain of command and the leadership so there's not a whole bunch of people trying to run the team and in their egos and pulling it in different directions. So, you know, Teresa is the president. She sets the tone. She's the Messiah of this group. Monica is the GM. She's like the Bobby. And, you know, everybody's got to know their roles. In this situation, Masai is Larry with Larry. They're owners. But, you know, Masai is a great ambassador, a great resource of knowledge and team sports management that, you know, obviously he's at their disposal or at their usage to help with any decisions too. But I would, you know, they got to keep the hats separate. And it really is, we got to understand, fans, Just because Masai is prominently around the team doesn't mean he's running this team. A lot of people are under this misguided thought that they think that Masai's running the team just because he's involved. No, Teresa's running the team, Masai's ownership. But he is there as a resource if they need advice or need him. I'm sure he can come in and talk. So, and it's great that they kind of like all have prior working experience. Masai and Teresa are very close, and they've worked together for a long, long time and know each other very well in a work setting. So yeah. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. Seymour is asking me why I didn't like Denny. Well, I'll tell you why, man. Because Denny's IDF. Denny has brutalized and murdered and probably done really awful things to Palestinians. That's why I don't like Denny. Denny served for his country in Israel against the Palestinian people, and he's held a machine gun to people's heads, and he has held people in very awful terroristic kind of ways. So Denny Avia to me is a terrorist. That's why I don't like him. He's served for that force, and he supports what Israel's doing right now. So you tell me if you still like him, Seymour, after I told you just that. He's literally somebody who's gone to Israel and fought for Israel and gone into Gaza and held guns to people and menaced them like a terrorist because he's proud of his country where he comes from. And he's also, his success is Netanyahu's success. Netanyahu gets really happy when Denny does well, and he shows the pride of Israel and saying, this guy is making us look so good in the NBA right now. Is that a good enough reason right there? You know, some people are giving a lot of credit to the owners of the Dallas Mavericks for the destruction of Gaza. That Sheldon Adelson, the dead husband of Adelson, who owns the team now, the wife, she funded basically the bombing of Gaza and the genocide of the Palestinian people. So for me, with the social conscience, I can't support anybody who supports Israel right now, because Israel is literally murdering Lebanese people now too, and taking the country of Lebanon away from the Lebanese people like they did to Gaza. So this is a very serious subject, and I'll speak out on this, and a lot of people should. The Dallas Mavericks are tied to the genocide, and so is Denny Advia. And anybody who's involved in genocide in this world, fuck you. You're a piece of shit, and you deserve to burn in hell. So that's what I would say to that. Yeah. Did I see the video you sent me? Was it the Scotty one? Yeah, we watched it and talked about it earlier. The thing with Scotty. Yeah. Nameless is saying that's some sick swag you're rocking there, Lex. Thank you. You like my sweatshirt and my hat? Cool. Yeah, we're representing Tempo right now. That's right. Yeah, I reacted to this. You might want to watch earlier in the stream. I said a lot of exactly what needed to be said to that guy in that car. Yeah, so you watched the stream earlier. You can see what my response was. All right, Kareem, you keep bringing this name up, and I'll bring it up and talk about it right now. But we're going to finish up now, guys. I still want Chennedy Carter. She could be like our Charles Oakley, but with a jump shot. Everyone deserves a fourth chance. Look, she's controversial. She's obviously blacklisted by the WNBA. And I don't know if that's right or justified. I know that it all stems from a hard foul on Caitlin Clark and doing certain things in a certain way that way. I get that. Do we need to get Colin Kaepernick on our team the first year we're coming in the league? No. This is not a good idea in any kind of way. This is about as bad an idea as me streaking at a Raptors game, Kareem. It's just a crazy idea. If another team went and got Chennedy Carter and put them on their team that's more established and has more things going, that's fine. But we don't need to be that team. We're a new team starting with a fresh slate. And just like I was just talking about how we can make this team a certain identity and do it right from the start, that's smart. And Carter's not a good person for us to bring in. That's a lightning rod. That's a controversy. That's a distraction. So no, I'm a big hell no on what you keep saying with Chennedy Carter. You may think it's a quick, fast way to get easy talent on our team, but that shortcut is a shortcut, and it's a folly shortcut. Let's just put it that way. It could cause way more problems for the Tempo than actually positives. So I did research on this because you kept bringing it up, and this is my response to you. Hell no. If nobody else in the WNBA is willing to do this, I don't believe in blacklisting, and it may very well be what you're saying is true. But that doesn't mean this team needs to be the one that goes and does this. That's what I would say to that. And there's no shortcuts. We're not trying to do shortcuts. And that sounds like a shortcut to get a blacklisted player that has been kind of exiled from the league. And in some ways, I don't like the whole story about why and how. And it's the golden girl that Caitlin Clark is, and the Fever fans would hate us so much. That's the thing. You bring in Carter and you put her on our team, and you automatically get ops all over the league with just her presence being on our team. So I'm just like, do we need this? No, it's more of a distraction than probably would help. So I would say that right there. Fiercely saying Tempo co-owners, Selena, Larry, Kyle, Drake, Masai. Yeah, I'm not even sure if Drake's on that list because he's not getting listed in other places. There's tons of assistant owners. Lily Singh. There's the Molson. Molson, the beer company, is one of the owners of the Tempo. You know, there's a very famous French-Canadian businesswoman named Belanger, who's one of the owners too. So, but I haven't seen Drake and Kyle's names coming up on the list lately. I think that they have very small minority ownership. Very, very small minority ownership. Yeah. Yeah. Fiercely say, make that a 6th chance. But seriously, she's an amazing player and scores a lot. It's her attitude that led her out of the WNBA. Yeah, we just don't need this. We just don't need this. Yeah. Yeah. And all right, I'm out, y'all. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream. Let's go, Tempo. I love y'all's new court. Congratulations to Temi coming to Toronto and representing Toronto Tempo. And Kia Nurse, your dreams come true. You get to play WNBA basketball in Canada for Toronto. And that's a beautiful thing. All right, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow for the Thursday Think Tank. And tomorrow, we need to call this. I want to hear y'all's thoughts on the first round series with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And we're going to have a good, strong conversation about the playoffs first round matchup for Raptors and Cavs. And I just want to hear all kinds of different dimensions. Maybe we'll espouse more on the possibilities of strategies that Darko and the coaches could employ to help the Raptors beat the Cavs better. We'll do that tomorrow. Very, very centric around the first round playoff series. Thursday Think Tank, first round against the Cavs. What do you think? Give me a call on the number. That's right. We'll do that tomorrow, guys. We're closing the poll, and it says 89% of you guys like the new Tempo court. So that's the majority. And that's right. And it may not look like a bank card now, but give it some time, Kareem Thomas. It might at some point. All right, let's go, Tempo. What a beautiful, beautiful court. What a fantastic event last night. Good job, Teresa Resch. And let's go, Toronto Raptors. Y'all get prepared as best as you can for this playoff series starting on Saturday at 1 p.m. Let's go, Toronto.